Hello, this is the review for your radical test that you're going to have on Tuesday, January the 16th. Which of value for x makes 2 times the square root of 3x plus 7 equal to 19? Well, you're going to solve it first. You want to get this radical sign by itself. So we're going to subtract 7 from both sides. So 2 times the square root of 3x is equal to 12 divided by 2. So the square root of 3x is equal to 6. We're going to square both sides. That gives us 3x is equal to 36. Then we're going to divide by 3. So x is equal to 12. Again, you want to get your x by itself. You want to get your radical sign by itself. Unlike number 1, there's nothing outside of our radical sign, so we can go ahead and we can square both sides. In the beginning, that leaves us with 7 minus x is equal to 9. If we subtract 7 from both sides, we get a negative x is equal to 2. Divide by negative 1, so x is equal to positive 2. For number 3, solving this one, we have 2 radicals. Notice we have a subtraction sign in between it, so we're just going to add this square root to both sides. By doing that, we actually are isolating one of our radical signs. And now what we can do is square both sides. When we square both sides, our radical sign goes away. When our radical sign goes away, we have x plus 4 is equal to 12 minus x. We add an x to both sides. We get 2x plus 4 is equal to 12. Subtract 4. 2x is equal to 8. Divide by 2. So x is equal to 4. For number 5, simplified form, the only way that we can add or subtract radicals is if they have the same index and the same radicand. All of these are the square root of 2, so we can combine them. 3 plus 4 gives us 7 square root of 2. If there is no number in front of your radical sign, remember that number is a 1, and 7 minus 1 gives us 6 times the square root of 2. This one is which is not equivalent. Well, remember this exponent that's a fraction, 1/2, is the same thing as saying the square root of 4 over 9. Square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3. So we can simplify that. This I use to simplify, so we know that this is one of our correct answers, so we know that one's good. We know this one's good. And remember, whenever you have a radical, you could separate the top and the bottom. So this is good. So for our answer, the only one that is not equivalent, they like asking these types of questions on your SOL test, it would be B. We need to simplify. Let's multiply outside times outside, inside times inside. So 2 times 3 is going to give us 6. X squared times x, we add our exponent, so that's x cubed, y. Underneath our radical sign, we have 8, x to the 4th, y. This we can break down into 4 times 2. Square root of 4 is 2. That's going to come outside. We have to multiply that. X to the 4th we can bring out. 4 divided by 2 is going to give me an x squared. So when we actually multiply this out, we have 2 times 6. So that's going to give us 12. I bring out an x squared. I have an x cubed, so I'm going to add those. So that's x to the 5th. I have a y out here I didn't do anything with. I have a 2 and a y left underneath my radical sign. So this is my answer. Again, we're simplifying. 4th root. 3 to the 4th is 81. A to the 4th I'm going to leave. B to the 8th I'm going to leave. All of these can come out. Exponent and index match. I bring the 3 and the a out. This is larger, so I divide my exponent by index. So 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. So that's going to be my answer, 3ab squared. We're simplifying this. We're taking it from radical form to fractional exponents. Exponent over index. So 2 to the 2/3 power. Real easy. Don't worry when they say x cannot equal 0. They're just telling you that underneath it you can't have the square root of a 0 number. So 75, we're going to break out to 25 times 3, x squared times x, minus 27, we're going to do 9 times 3, x squared times x. Remember perfect squares, because we're taking square root comes outside. So here I have 5x times the square root of 3x, minus 3x times the square root of 3x. Same exponent, same radicand. So 5 minus 3x gives me 2x times the square root of 3x. Let's simplify what we have first. 2 over 4 can be simplified. Largest exponent is on the bottom, so we bring that down, we subtract. So what we have left on top is y times the square root of 9 times 2 times y squared times y, all over. The 2 reduced the 4 to a 2. We took away one of the x's. 16 is a perfect square, so that comes completely out as a 4. Y squared is a perfect square, so that comes out as a y. This y will cancel with this y. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of y squared is y. We have left underneath our radical sign 2y. All over 2 times 4 is 8. And we have an x left in the denominator. We can't simplify anything else, so this is our answer. If we write these as fractional exponents, we've got exponent over index, 3 over 6, and 4 over 6. Both of these fractions can be reduced. 3 over 6 can be reduced to 1/2. 4 over 6 can be reduced to 2/3. So x to the 1/2, y to the 2/3. See if we can reduce this. 45 is the same thing as 9 times 5. 20 is the same thing as 4 times 5. Perfect square, that comes out. So at 3, 5xy minus 2, 5xy. Same index, same radicand, so I can subtract. So I have 3 minus 2 is just 1, or just square root of 5xy. Trying to divide, I'm going to simplify. 45 we simplified just a minute ago to 9 times 5. Square root of 9 is 3, so I'm going to bring that out along with the b. I have left a 5a on top. Now we're dividing. Square root of 9 is 3. 6 divided by 2 gives me b cubed. C squared divided by 2 gives me c. Now we can simplify a little bit. 3's cancel. Largest exponent for b is on the bottom, so I take 1 away from 3, and that's going to leave me a b squared. So what I have left on top is the square root of 5a over b squared c. Trying to simplify. This actually works out. If you use your factor tree, this is going to become 2 to the 7th is 128, x to the 8th, y to the 6th. I'm going to simplify that, and I'm going to make that 2 to the 6th times 2, x to the 8th, y to the 6th. I can bring this out. 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. 2 squared is 4. 8, I can simplify this one, and I can make this 6 an x squared. 6 divided by 3 is 2, so I have an x squared. I also have a y squared that came out. What I have left underneath is this 2. Remember, I separated the x to the 8th to x to the 6 times x squared. X to the 6 came out, so I have an x squared left. Y to the 6 divided out evenly. So what I ended up having left is 4x squared y squared times the cube root of 2x squared. We're looking at some transformations. What has actually happened to this graph? How has it been shifted? Has it been moved to the right or to the left? No, it looks like it's still where it should be as far as left or right. Did it go up from the original? Nope, it didn't go up. So it looks like it crosses that 1 on the original and -1. So it's been shifted down 2 units. Remember what we talked about when we're talking about graphing of polynomials? What appears to be a turning point? Remember, turning points is when the graph is going one way and then turns and goes in another. This is a turning point at -2, 0. This is also a turning point down here at somewhere about 0.75 and about 9.5, -9.5. And the one that we have that's one of our answers is this. Remember, this is also when it sits directly on the graph. This is called a double root. And we could also talk about some end behavior. You don't have it on this test, but you will see it again. The end behavior as x approaches -infinity. What's the end of the graph approaching? Y approaches -infinity. As x approaches +infinity, what's the end of your graph approaching? That one's also approaching +infinity. If we look at our increasing and decreasing intervals, we have turning points. So let's identify those turning points. That's a turning point, and that's a turning point. Okay, so turning points help us to distinguish our increasing and decreasing intervals. Our increasing interval, it increases from -infinity until it gets to -2. It also increases from what we said here, looked like it was about 1.75 to +infinity. It decreases. It decreases on this interval here, which is from -2 to where it starts increasing again, where we said it was about 1.75. So don't forget your end behavior. Don't forget your increasing and decreasing interval. Go back over and look over your properties for adding and subtracting, what you do when your bases are the same and you raise an exponent to an exponent, when your bases are the same and you multiply. And look at your properties, and good luck on your test. See you on Tuesday.